are y'all doing? So I'm going to be out of town on Tuesday, so Jamie's letting me shoot this yoga practice for you all on Monday morning. So it'll be a little bit different in that I'm just in here doing this by myself, so I won't see you on the screen, but I'll be with you in spirit. I'm going to go camp a little bit. So let's start off in child's pose. We're going to work through a Baptiste flow, which is what you get from me usually. So there's a little bit of a lot of different things. We're going to move fairly quickly, but I encourage you to take rest in child's pose when you need it. I encourage you to really stay focused on your breath and modify as you need it. So work your way into child's pose. Bring your toes to touch. Grip your knees nice and wide. Sink your tailbone back towards your heels. Let your hands move forward. Lift your fingers up. Slide your hands a little farther forward. Plant your fingers. Send your tailbone closer to your heels. Let your forehead rest on something. If it doesn't go all the way to the mat, you can rest it on a block or a book, whatever you happen to have. Draw your belly into your spine. Feel yourself connected here to your mat. Bring some awareness into your body. Feel the length of your body. Feel the space that's taken up here. And then bring some integration. Draw your belly in towards your midline. That's going to be one of the themes of practice this morning, is drawing in. And that allows us to be strong and stable and then radiate out from that point. Walk your hands over to the right. Settle your left hip down into the mat. Walk them a little bit farther. And now's the time to set up your breathing. Breathe Ujjayi in through your nose, out through your nose. That just simply means victorious breath. So you want to be able to hear it. You want to be able to feel it, and allow it to create some space there in your left side body. One more breath here. You can actively push the floor away from you to settle that left hip in, and then walk your hands back through the center of your mat and send them off on the other side. You can stack the right hand on top of your left here if you want. Keep drawing in. If you want a little bit of a twist, you can lift that right shoulder and look under your right armpit. All options. Walk yourself back into the center of the mat and come up into puppy dog pose. So you're going to bring your knees under your hips and then walk your hands out. Bring them out into almost a Y shape. Maybe you even want to bring them off the mat. Just allow your heart to open here. This is a good opportunity to draw your belly into your spine. That's where all your strength is going to come from. It's going to radiate out from that Uddiyana Bandha right below your belly button. And then from here, walk your hands back onto your mat. Tuck your toes. And press yourself up into a downward facing dog. This is going to be a really long dog to start practice. So notice how I'm taking up most of the length in my mat. And my dog, the V shape of my dog is a little bit flattened. So play with that. Press all 10 fingers into the mat. Let your shoulder blades come together. Send your tailbone towards the sky. You're going to feel that a little bit differently. And then begin to walk your dog just a little bit. So here in this shape, you're driving your heels more back than you are down. And then begin to walk your feet in just a little bit and find the shape of down dog that suits you this morning. You can bend your knees a little bit, a little softness there as you're pressing the mat down and away. Send your tailbone up higher. Press your heels down and back. Alternating, bending your right knee, bend your left knee. And then walk your feet up to the top of the mat. Lift up halfway. Make your back nice and flat here. Shoulder blades come together as if you're pinching a pencil between them, or a baseball or a golf ball. Something small. Squeeze in. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Set your feet about hips distance to mat's distance apart. Check in with your feet. The outside edges of your feet are parallel to the edges of your mat. Draw that belly in a little tighter, and then just drape your heart over your thighs. Let your palms rest in the creases of your wrists. Or if you'd like some shoulder opening, you can interlace your fingers behind your back. Lift your arms up and send your hands towards the floor in front of you. Find some sway side to side. And as you move here, use this as an opportunity to re-ground your feet. Really pressing in here, and from that connection with the earth, you can find some movement that brings some opening in your hamstrings and your IT bands. And then just settle. Wherever your vibe is, hang out right there, another couple breaths. Let your head hang nice and heavy. And then release your fingertips down to the floor. Walk your feet to touch or almost to touch. Feet pointing straight ahead, 12 o'clock, true north. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach, rise up, press your feet into the floor. See the sky or ceiling between your fingers. Let your shoulder blades come down from your ears. Bring your belly into your spine. Press your hips forward just a little bit. Look up and lean back. And then from that place of integration, fold forward. Do it again. Lift up halfway. Hands can come to your shins, your thighs even. Exhale, fold. Inhale, press into the earth. Reach up, belly in. Look up, lean back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Step your feet back, high plank. Press back, downward facing dog. Let's move through that transition just a couple more times. Inhale, shift forward so your shoulders are over or maybe slightly in front of your wrists. Draw your belly into your spine and then press back. Keep that engagement in your core. Inhale, forward. Keep everything tucked in. Exhale, press back. Inhale, lift your right leg. Exhale, bring your knee to your nose for cheetah. Inhale, lift it up. Press your heel down. Exhale, bring that knee across to your left elbow. Inhale, press up. Exhale, bring your right knee to your right elbow for mountain climber prep or mountain climber. Inhale, send that right leg all the way up to the sky. Exhale, set everything back down. Take a breath in, breath out. Same movements on the other side. Let me demo how you can do this with your knee dropped if you want. Inhale, send your left leg up. Exhale, cheetah. Bring your knee to your nose. Inhale, send it up. Exhale, bring it across, shifting forward. Inhale, send that left leg up. Exhale, bring that elbow to the knee. Every one of these movements is accessible through a modification. Inhale, send that left leg up. Exhale, bring it back down. Find your downward facing dog or your tabletop. Take a breath in. Open your mouth, clear it all out. Bend your knees, look to the top of the mat, float to the top of the mat, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, settle into yogi squat, malasana. Sink your hips down close to the floor, draw your belly to your spine, shoulders over your hips. Press your palms together. Sink a little bit deeper, re-engage with the blades of your feet. Exhale, fold forward, turn your toes in. Come back to that malasana on your inhale. Hands at heart center or hands to your knees. Exhale, fold forward, wide-legged fold. 2 more times. Inhale, settle into malasana. Sink nice and deep here. Exhale, fold. With big engagement in your core, settle in for the last one of these for this particular segment. Shift a little side to side, settle in nice and low. Find a gaze point, a drishti. Send your shoulders back. Exhale, fold forward. Set your feet together, lift halfway. Exhale, step back, high plank to low plank. Inhale, up dog. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Shift forward, high plank again. Exhale, come all the way down. Now, I always give you the option of cobra or up dog. So I'm going to break that down for just a second. So cobra is going to have your hips on the mat. You're going to press lightly into the mat with your hands and then draw into your belly, send your heart back. So you have big core engagement. Up dog is going to come from low plank, and then you're going to send your hips forward, but you're going to keep your back safe by engaging your belly and your quads. Look forward, and then tuck your toes, press back, meet me in down dog. So let's do that one more time, your choice. I'm going to go through it twice. I'm going to do cobra first and up dog second. Shift forward, high plank, low plank, cobra. Exhale back, down dog. Breath in, breath out. Inhale forward, high plank, low plank, up dog. See my hips coming forward, belly tucked, quads engaged. Exhale back, downward facing dog. You always have those choices. Breath in, breath out. One full on sun A. Bend your knees, float to the top of the mat. Lift up, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Tadasana, or tall mountain. See the sky, open your heart. Exhale, fold forward. Lift halfway. Exhale, step or float, high to low plank. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg. Step your right foot outside your hand. Right hand. Spin that left foot down at a 45-degree angle. Settle your hips here. Walk your hands forward. Just a couple breaths in this down dog lunge. Press into that blade of that left foot a little bit more. Internally rotate your left thigh and your right thigh. Open up. And walk your hands back under your shoulders. Spin up onto that the ball of that left foot, and then come into that twist. So you're planting your hand down here on the mat, or on a block if you have it, or your belly in. Reach your right hand up. Sink your hips a little bit deeper. Now listen carefully. Spin up into warrior two. You're spinning down into the blade of that back foot. Looking out over your right middle finger, shoulders down, away from your ears, belly in. Reach back, peaceful warrior, and now we float. High plank to low. Inhale, up dog. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, lift your left leg. Exhale, set it outside your left hand. Right foot spins down. Lift your heart and then begin to walk your hands forward. Settling your hips in. So in this pose, in Malasana, we're opening up the inner thighs. We're opening up the hips, warming everything up there, and lengthening the spine as we draw in from the core. Breathe, extend. Then walk your hands back in, under your shoulders, spin up onto the ball of that foot and look forward. Round your hand, draw into the belly, reach your left arm up. So drop that right shoulder in under your left as you squeeze in there. Hold for another breath. And inhale, come back up into warrior two. Settle into it. Breathe in and out. Inhale back into peaceful warrior, and then on your exhale, flow all the way down, high plank to low. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Take a breath in, take a breath out. Bend your knees, look up to the top of the mat, float. Lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, find your chair pose. Sit nice and deep here. So chair pose is going to bring your belly button into your spine. You've heard me say that a million times already. And that's going to allow your tailbone to tuck. From here, You're gonna shift your hips back, knees over your ankles, and settle in. Bring your hands to your heart. Twist to your right. So hook that left elbow outside your right thigh. Now very intentionally draw length into your spine as you breathe in, and twist from your belly as you breathe out. Now draw everything into center. Lift the left foot and send it to the back of the mat, coming into your crescent twist. So if it takes you 2 or 3 steps to get there, that's fine. If you need to drop your left knee to the mat to find stability, that's also fine. You can open your arms up here, send your right fingertips to the sky, left fingertips to the floor, and then on your inhale, sweep open into warrior 2. Look up your right middle finger, reach back, peaceful warrior, and then find your extended side angle. Bring your forearm to your thigh, or fingertips to the floor, and then bring your arm up, bicep by your ear, and then allow that left shoulder to come back as you press down onto that right thigh. You can walk that right foot up farther to drop your hips a little bit more. Hold here. Settle in. Reach over your head with your fingers. Send that left shoulder blade down to meet the right. Then inhale, come back up into your peaceful warrior. Keep your hips low. And then on your exhale, vinyasa, flow through. High plank to low plank. Upward facing dog or cobra, and downward facing dog. Take a breath in, a breath out. Bend your knees, look up to the top of the mat. Float or a step, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose. Go right there. You felt this pose in your body now. Tuck your tailbone, belly in, hands to heart center. Inhale for length, exhale, twist. Right elbow outside left thigh. Squeeze your thighs together. Draw your belly into your spine. Breathe. Make this dynamic even though you're staying in one place. Hips lower than heart. Heart open, thumbs come to the center on your sternum. Maybe you open your hands if you want. And from here, if you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can step back into your Anjaneyasana and your crescent lunge on this side. Your choice completely. Hold. Drive that right heel back. Settle those hips towards the floor. And then come up, warrior 2. Spin the right foot down. Set your gaze over the left middle finger. And then settle in here. Check in with your alignment. Your heel is going to be in front of the arch. Heel of your left foot is going to be in front of the arch of your right foot. Sink deep. Now press back with the blade of your right foot. Press down and forward with all of your left foot. Find some ease in your shoulders right here. Reach back, peaceful warrior. And then on your exhale, find your extended side angle on this side. Setting it up here, dropping your hips, grounding with your feet. Reach that right arm overhead, bicep by your ear, and then roll it open. Yawn up, open your body, separating your collarbones here. Feel that. So you're having opposing actions as your collarbones separate, your shoulders on your back come together. Reach your arm up and over your head. You can also bring your hand behind your back. You can bind, half bind. We'll work on that more another day. Press into the blade of your back foot. Press out through your fingers. And then inhale. Warrior 2. And then all the way back, peaceful warrior. And then windmill all the way down. High plank to low plank. Inhale, up dog. Exhale back. Downward facing dog. Take a breath in. Exhale. Let it go. Press your heels to the floor. Send your tailbone to the sky. Now we're going to play a little bit. Walk your feet about a third of the way forward.
and bring your feet together. So hopefully you can see this from the side. The inside edges of your feet are touching each other. You're sending your knees out. And I want you to send your gaze about a foot in front of your mat. And we're going to do 5 frog jumps here. So you can do them at your own time. This is what it might look like. So keep those feet together. Send your hips up over your shoulder. 5 frog jumps. Try to find some ease. Catch a little bit of air there, some stability. Pressing your hands down into the mat as you send your hips forward. When you're done, find your downward facing dog. Good. Draw into the belly here. Shift forward, high plank. Stacking your shoulders over your wrists. Find your side plank. So left palm presses into the mat. Right foot stacking on top of the left. Reach up. Exhale, release. You can always drop your knee. I'll show you on this side. Shift over. Drop the right knee, if you want this modification, under your hip, as directly under there as you can get. Roll over, press the blade of that foot into the mat, reach your left fingertips to the sky. Almost fell out. Yeah, keep pressing, open up, and release it. High plank, back to downward facing dog. Walk your feet up to the top of the mat. Nice work. In forward fold, lift halfway. Now find your integration here. We're going to breathe here nice and easy for a couple of breaths before we come into some balance poses. Draw your belly into your spine. Exhale, fold. Now bend your knees, press into the earth, come all the way up. Reach up, look up, and then find your equal standing pose. Bring your arms down by your sides. If your breath is elevated, the rate of your breath like mine, let that drishti get you fixed, and then allow your ujjayi breath just to let you calm back down. If you need to close your eyes for a couple rounds of breath, do that, and recommit to that integration. Notice that my belly just sort of dropped, so I'm going to reconnect that bandha right there, reconnect with my breath. Let everything go except for this breath right here. Doesn't matter what happened before in practice. Doesn't matter what's going to happen after practice. Just stand nice and tall. Engage your legs. Open your eyes if they're closed. And let's find eagle pose. So stand on your left foot. Wrap your right leg around your left leg. Squeeze those thighs together. You may be able to tuck your toes, right toes behind your shin, or you may need a little kickstand for some balance assistance. Take it if you need it. And then bring your arms out into a T. Wrap your right arm underneath your left arm. Press your palms together if that's accessible to you. If not, you can bring your palms to opposite shoulders. And then from here, bend your standing left knee. Sink your hips down towards the floor. Keep your gaze, your drishti, focused on something unmoving across the room. Inhale, come all the way up. Let that go. Breath in and breath out. Look down at your feet, check in with them, ground them, come back, and then find eagle pose on the other side. So wrap your left leg around your right and honor the differences because your feet are going to tend to plant into the ground differently. Just keep them active. Draw in. Find your arm wrap. Left arm under right. Shoulders up, or elbows up, shoulder high. Shoulders towards the back of the mat. Squeeze together. Sink your hips. Sink a little lower. A little lower. And then come all the way back up. Nice work. So let's try this again. I'm going to turn sideways. Try this again on both sides. To clear it, plant your feet. Engage your body. Find your eagle. Right leg over left. Right arm under left. Elbow shoulder high. Sink a little bit deeper. Now listen carefully. Keep that bend. Unwrap your right leg. Step back into eagle arm crescent lunge. Lift your elbows up, sink your hips a little lower, draw your belly in, look up, see the sky. And then bring your gaze back in front of you. Take a big step up, however many you need, to get back into that eagle pose. Sink it low, release it, open up. Now, if you've been doing a lot of arm stuff with Jamie on these early morning workouts, you're gonna find some tightness in your shoulders, so be gentle as you work your way into the spine. From your equal standing pose, find that core lock, that engagement, find your drishti, go to the eagle. Left leg over, left arm under, shoulders, elbows, same height, draw into your belly, sink your hips. Send your left leg back, find your crescent lunge with these eagle arms. Maybe you want to open that crescent a little bit more. Sink deep into your hips here, lean back, protect your spine by drawing into your belly, and then see the wall in front of you and take a big step or several up, back into that eagle pose. Hold for another breath, exhale, let it all go. Take a breath in and a breath out. And let's do one more balance pose. Let's make it a dancer pose. If you have something that you want to lean against, a wall, do it. Or a partner, palm to palm, do it. If you're working with a partner, get a lot farther apart than you think you need to be. So from your equal standing, okay, arms down by your sides, palms forward, lift your left arm, palm faces forward. Send your right hand back, grab the inside of your ankle or your foot. Bring that knee, it wants to track out to the side for me, down, kick, down, and then as you hinge at your hip creases, reach forward with that left hand. Kick back, opposing forces do the work here as you reach and kick, reach and kick. One more breath, bring it all the way back up, good, and set everything down. Samastitihi, equal standing. Feet grounded. Yeah, so let's do the other side. Right arm lifts, the shoulders come together. It's a constant thing. Belly in, also a constant. Take your left hand, reach inside your left ankle or your left foot. Bring that knee down, and then reach and kick. Simultaneously, going back and forward. The more you kick back, the more you can reach forward, and then inhale, come all the way back up, and just smoothly transition back to our first side. You know where to go. Knee down, kick and reach, shoulders back, heart open. One more breath, slowly transition. Make this a moving meditation. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Keep your breath, keep your drishti, keep your belly locked. Go someplace new. And all the way back up. Let it go. Nice work. So from here, let's work our way into some back bends for awakening. And so let's work our way down to the floor. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, plant your hands, and then step back, come to your knees. So find tabletop here, and I want you to work through about 3 or 4 cows and cats, just to really articulate your spine here. It's nice and warm. And just keep it all linear. If you want to move side to side, you can continue here, but we're going to work into Ustrasana, which is Sanskrit for camel. And so I want you to take your hands, press them into the small of your back, okay? So I want you to tuck in a little bit here, draw that belly in, and bring your hips, rotate your hips forward so that tailbone comes down. Okay, press the tops of your feet into the mat, and then I want you to begin to lean back just a little bit until you find some tension there, until you're back about as far as you can go. And Just hold it, maybe move around that place a little bit. Just experience where you are. And then open your heart. Lift your sternum and come back up. Now let's work into the back bend. Draw your belly into your spine. Push your hips forward. Send your shoulders back. Lift your heart up. Now if you feel any sensation, any pain in your spine, just come out a little bit, retighten your belly, and then come back with respect. We're going to be here 3 breaths. See where you can go. There's always an opportunity to change the pose, to explore. Sometimes that means backing out. And on your inhale, come all the way back up. Bring your arms out to cactus arms, elbows shoulder height. Twist to your right, nice and tall. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, go the other way. Inhale, come back to center. And then on your exhale, bring your hands to your back. Now we're going to go a little deeper here if you want, or you can go right back where we were. By the way, we twist there between the back bends so that we establish some equilibrium in those vertebrae. Again, the back bends bring the back part of the vertebrae together, and so the twists sort of open it up. It's much better than just coming into an embryo or a forward fold. So tuck the toes if you want. That's what I'm going to do. It makes my heels more accessible. You can keep the tops of your feet pressed in if you wish. Belly in, hips forward, and then keep that left hand on your back as you reach back. Touch the right heel with your right fingers. Make that connection, and then reach back, other hand, whichever you started with, go with the other one. And then notice that my hips went back. Recommit, belly in, hips forward, heart open. And then if your neck feels good with that, lean your head back. Lift up a little bit more. And then bring your left hand to your back, right hand to your back. Come all the way up. And set the tops of your feet back on the mat. Bring your arms out wide in a T or cactus arms, whatever you want. And then twist your right, nice and tall, looking back over your right fingers or your right elbow. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, go the other way. Nice. Back to center. And just bring your hands down to the mat. And sit down on the mat. And work your way into bridge pose. Bring your heels in close to your glutes. Lift your heels. And then with your heels lifted here, look at your feet. Turn your toes in. So mine and most people's want to splay out. So set your feet in, set your toes in so they're still tracking at 12 o'clock. And then press into your feet. Lift your hips. And then if you've got room, interlace your fingers. Press your arms into the floor and fully express that bridge pose. And draw into your belly a little bit. And maybe you can walk those feet back in a little bit closer. Hold for one more breath. And then exhale, release it all the way down. Or if you want to stay, you can. We're going to do one more back bend from our back. Okay? So you can do another bridge. You're set up for it. You're also set up for wheel, if you'd like that. That's what I'll cue you through here. You're going to bring your hands by your ears, fingers towards your toes, and then press down. And I want you to feel the simultaneous 4-point press in both feet, both hands. Come up. Straighten your arms as best you can. Keep drawing that belly in. Press your heart through. Find some ease in your neck as your head drops. Hold for 5. You can come up on your toes if you want more. 4, 3, 2, 1. And bring it all the way down. Nice work. Find your Supta Baddha Konasana here. Reclining bound angle. One hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Take a couple of breaths right here. So let's counter that with a little bit of twisting. So you can roll forward and come into your tabletop again. So stack it up, Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, belly into spine. Set your left hand in front of you in the center of your mat. Reach up with your right and then thread the needle. Bring that right elbow across to the edge of your mat, and then your right shoulder can come down to the center of your mat. Walk that left hand forward. Draw into your belly and breathe into those vertebrae in your low back you just worked. Inhale, come back up. Find your tabletop. Let's find a cow and a calf here, or two. Maybe find a little bit of side-to-side movement. And then come back to your still tabletop. Set your right hand in the center and ahead of your head. Reach your left fingers up. Thread the needle. As that shoulder comes down to the center of the mat, then you can extend your right arm to the top or the top left of the mat. That's going to give you more room in your spine for that left shoulder to come all the way down to the mat. So work this twist here with respect, with awareness. One more breath. And then make your way back up into your tabletop. Tuck your toes, press up, downward facing dog. Yeah. Now send your hips up to the sky, press your heels down to the floor, and then shift forward into your high plank. You can work this from your knees, and we're going to lower to the mat for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your arms out into a T or cactus arms. What's the most important is that your elbow is right beside your shoulder. Press the palm of your hand down into the floor and then roll over into that shoulder. And open that up a little bit. Bend your top leg. Set that left foot behind your right knee. And then you can bend your elbow on the left side and bring those fingertips down to a floor or a block. About 4 or 5 breaths here, just to relax and breathe into that shoulder, keeping your belly locked. Keep your breathing, your ujjayi. And then slowly come back to your center. Shake a little bit side to side, let anything go that needs to go. And then with that left arm extended, go the other way. If you've got a block, you can put your head on a block here if it feels better. That works great for some people. It feels better. If I had one, I would use it on this side, not the other. And so bring that right hand behind you. Fingers can press into the small of your back or into the floor, or that's an option. You can also just bring your hand to your hip. But I find it's useful to have that arm back a little bit so that my body will allow me to go into the shoulder a little bit more. I guess you can also do this. You can press away from you here, but that makes it more active. This is really more of a passive pose where you're letting gravity do the work. There's nothing to force. And then begin to roll out. And then come to seated. So I'm going to work through a couple of hip openers and then begin our way down towards Shavasana. So find your double pigeon or firelock legs. So your knees are going to come in hips distance apart. You're going to stack them like this. If this is very painful for you, and if this left butt cheek sitting bone is going to come way up off the mat, then maybe you just set that left shin in front of the right, or maybe you change your leg cross a little bit. But however you do it, the left is going to be on top. And then I want you to press into the mat, lift up, lift your hips off the floor, and shift to a little bit to, I'm going to my right. I'm going to the side that the foot is up in the air on. and settle in. So you're squared up here, sitting nice and tall, shoulders on your back, belly in, and maybe you fold forward. Nothing to force here. Just find that point of resistance, that sensation, and just breathe into it. All the things that we've been working throughout practice, the ujjayi, the belly lock, the drishti, those are all key here. And this is so different than everything else we do through Octane. It's not goal oriented. It's not about number of reps or number of pounds or any of that. It's just about finding your edge where you are today on this side in this practice. And playing with that and learning from that. Switch sides. So just come back up. Set the other shin on top. For me, it's my right one. And just play with it. Try to set it up, sort of by the book, for lack of a better phrase, and your knees are in front of your hips, because it might work better or worse on this side. And then make whatever modifications with your leg arrangement you need to make. Then lift up, shift over to the side that the foot is hanging in the air, and then that's going to plant your sitting bones a little bit more evenly. Flex your feet here to protect your knees, lift up in your heart, and begin that forward fold. This feels stabilizing to me to put my hands on my feet, so you can play with that if you want. Couple more breaths right here. Inhale, come all the way up. Roll onto your back, find happy baby. So, grounding, shoulders, sacrum, belly in, outside of your feet, attach to them or grab onto them with your fingers, and then pull. So as you pull, those shoulder heads that have been off the floor maybe when you reached up are going to come back, and you're going to feel a stretch in your internal thigh. And then very intentionally press the sacrum and your shoulders down. If you can't get the outsides of your feet, get your ankles wherever you need to get so that you can feel those shoulders press into the mat and the sacrum press into the mat. Flex your feet. And then press your feet together into butterfly. Again, interlacing outside your feet or your ankles. Pressing your shoulders into the mat. And breathe. Drawing those feet in towards your core. Release this. Send your legs straight up to the sky, and we're going to have a very passive, low-key inversion. And so I'll give you a choice of waterfall. So you can bring your hands just under your sacrum if you want, or a block if you've got it. Send your legs straight up. If you want something a little bit more, you can come into this dead bug pose and keep your shoulders pressed into the mat. For me, I'm going to stay right here for about 5 breaths. So this is an active pose in that your legs are engaged. You're pressing your heels towards the ceiling. Spread your toes wide as you flex those feet a little bit more. Draw into your belly. And then when you're ready, just lower your feet back down. Nice work. Bring your right knee up into your heart. Squeeze it in nice and strong. So this is very similar to what was going on in those happy babies. You're just isolating it to one side. You're pulling the knee in more towards your the head of your shoulder than towards your ribs. And then drop it across. So guide that right knee with your left hand. Reach out with your right arm. Fingers extended. Shoulder pressed down towards the mat. Nothing to force. Come back through center. Pull that right knee in again. Then pull the left knee in with it. Extend the right. Take a couple breaths here to explore as you draw in that left knee towards your left shoulder. And then drop it across your body. Left knee comes across to your right. That left arm extends out. Let your gaze go across those fingers. Come back to center. Draw that left knee in tight. Bring the right knee in with it. Wrap your arms around your shins. Lift your eye sockets up to your kneecaps. Breathe in. And then breathe out as you release everything down to the floor. Take a few breaths to do what you need to be still. If you're in a cool place and you feel like you're going to get chilled, just cover up with a blanket or a jacket or whatever. A pillow under your knees is nice. A pillow slid in just under the tops of your thighs is also nice. And then let everything go. And in the stillness, bring your attention to your breath. And as you do, release the need to breathe any particular way. Bring your attention to the belly lock that you've held through practice. Let that go. Bring your attention to your drishti and release that. Become aware of gravity. And surrender to it. Take your rest. Shavasana. Begin to find some movement in your fingers and your toes. Allow those movements to work their way through the joints and the bones of your arms and your legs. Take a stretch. And then slowly, maybe you roll through to one side. Make your way up to seated. And close your eyes. And feel your body in this new plane, in this vertical plane. Feel your sitting bones grounded. Feel your knees touching your feet and your feet touching the floor. Feel yourself relaxed. And then from our practice, draw a little awareness and a little engagement in your belly. And draw some openness into your heart. And bring your hands together at the center of your heart. Press your thumb knuckles into your sternum. Lift up even more. So thank you all for doing what's good for yourself, for finding some time to get on your mat, for finding an alternative and a balance to the
stresses, both the physical and mental and emotional ones that we have every day. And building the understanding that this is always here for you. You don't need a teacher. You don't need anything but just yourself and your breath. So lift your thumb knuckles up to the center of your forehead. Open your eyes. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Namaste. All right, thank you, everybody. Have a great day, whatever you've got going on, and I look forward to seeing you soon.